auction project, building the dashboard sheet. So if you haven't done it so far, this would probably be a pretty good time to save it. We've done a lot of work with some complicated formulas, and it would be tragic to lose it now. So go ahead and save your work. Now what we're going to be working on this one then is we're going to add another page to this. My thinking here is during the auction, people are always having questions. What lot number are we on? What did the last one close at? They're trying to take notes. They'd like to see how it's going. They have questions. So wouldn't it be interesting if we made a second page of this thing, another page, and on that page it brings the details together, like when's at auction right now? What was the last one? What did it close at? What were the details and all those? Then in Excel we can say view other page, view a new window. And then maybe if we had a projector which had showed different than what was on the screen, which most of them do, we could put that other page on the other screen, project up onto a wall or something where we're at with the auction. And then the cool thing is just by using Excel, now I've got a updating registry of how the auction's going while it's happening. So people could walk up, they could look at it, see the results, and we can still keep working on inputting bids and stuff, checking people out as this is going on. So it's fun. Let's give it a shot. So to do this then, we're going to have to add another page. So to add a new page, right click on any of those tabs on the bottom. Then choose Insert, select Worksheet, it's the first item, and then hit OK. Really, when you just say Insert, you could hit OK, and it would do the same thing because it's the first item. Then drag that tab so it's all the way in the beginning. Right click on it and rename it Dashboard. So I'm on my sheet. I'm just going to right click now, just on one of these tabs. Right click, there it is. Insert, Worksheet, hit OK. And there's my blank one. You just called it Sheet 2. Now I'm going to click, hold, drag, and move it. You can see the little arrow where it's going to go. And drop it. Now I'm going to right click on it and rename it Dashboard. Enter. Now I'd like you to go through and try to recreate this page. I would put it about in the middle of it, because picture how what we're going to do is we're going to project this up onto a screen. So it'd be nice if it wasn't stuffed on the corner of the screen, so somewhere in the middle. What you need to add in is we need the current lot. I wouldn't put the number yet because we're going to do that with formulas. Maybe leave a space, we'll have last lot, leave another space, another space, sale average, space. Then do 2 columns, one for lambs, one for swine, average highest lowest, and so on. And then the chart we'll do at the end. So let's go try and pull this one off. So here's mine. Put it somewhere in the middle, and I'm thinking I can put values here. I'll have that last slot info and things here. Sale average number maybe in both of these. Now I can move these around later, but just try to get our labels in place there. So go ahead and put yours in. Go ahead and pause this video and type in yours. Now this next one I had a bit of a problem with trying to figure out. What I want is I want it to return the item that we're at a sale now on. Which one is actually on the block now? But how to pull it off. So on the lots page, when you're building this and during the sale and stuff, you would normally only have winning bids and prices for those items that actually closed. So I'm thinking we'll just find the last one and put that up on the screen. So that should do it. So how are we going to do that then? So now we'll think about how auction numbers are laid out here. If the auction numbers are always going up in order, we could use the max function and say what's the maximum. But then I would need to find out, because all of them are going to be listed, so it's not the maximum of all of them. It's only going to be the maximum of those that actually have a bid. So let's use a max if s and say, hey, if it's greater than 0 for the bid, then that's the maximum. Otherwise, don't go there. All right, so we'll use that. And where it's going to fall apart, though, so we'll have to keep this in mind while it's working, is if someone comes up with lot 21A and 21B, which happens. In those cases, I think what you'll have to do is relabel those lots in your system here. Instead of calling them A and B, maybe 28.1, 28.2, that would work. So we just have to work with it. If that's impossible, then we're going to have to abandon this idea of the max if s and come up with something a little bit more complicated to pull it off. But for this one, for now, let's make it work. It works for the data that's there, and we know, so we could always change the lot numbers if we had to. The problem though is when I get done with this, it's only going to show me the last finished auction, the one you just put a price in. But we want to know, well, what's the one you're at now? So I'm just thinking, let's just add one to it. Find the last one that's actually was bid on, add one more. If they're not in sequential, it may not work and we'll have some problems for a moment until it moves to the next one. So it's not perfect, but it'll work for us. So there we go. Now I'm already seeing current lot. It's not in a great spot. So I'm going to move it over just by clicking on the line on the edge here. Click, hold, drag, and drop it over. Because I want to put the lot probably there. Maybe even move current lot more over that way later. So let's begin this. We're going to use that max if. So insert, oops. So, nope, that wasn't it. Formulas, insert function. Max if s. Now you can type it out, but here it is because I used it just a little while ago. So I'll hit OK. What is the max range? The cell in which you wish to determine the maximum value. So let's go to the sale page. I want to know the maximum lot number. Don't want to get confused. We're not talking about the winning numbers or the bidder numbers, which is what we've been doing till now. Now we're interested only in the largest assigned lot number. There's 191 of them here. What's the criteria range? Now here's where I was interested in the other one. I'm thinking what we can do is we will look for ones that do not have a final bid. Now we could also choose the buyer number, ones that don't have a buyer number. Either way would work. If you think you'll be putting in zeros for things, maybe I don't want to use this then. Let's do that not instead. So I'm going to use this instead. I'm going to use the buyer number. Because sometimes one, nobody bids on it, and it would be 0. So that's not going to work. So I'm going to go all the way down. And the buyer number has to be greater than 0. Okay, did that work? 191. That's the maximum. So let's test it out. If I go back to the sale one now, go to the bottom here and chop these out. I'm just going to paste it over so I can put them back because I won't remember those numbers. I just want to test it. So now then, the last one should hopefully be this 187. So back to the dashboard. 187. Perfect. But that's the last lot, not the current lot. The current lot is that same number. We're just going to add +1. Not the most elegant, but it'll work for our situation. Okay, I want to go back now and put these numbers back. Control X, Control V. There, they're back. What's it say now? 192. Well, we don't have a 192, but that's okay. So, last lot. So we can use somewhat the same function, but we want to put in more detail so they actually know, oh, it wasn't just lot 191, it was that swine that was sold by somebody and it had this price or something, whatever it was at. So let's think this one through. So I could use the one we just came up with, current lot, and back a point back out of it. Or I could just grab that piece of the formula that figured out what the last lot was and use that. But we could use that part again, but then create a single line with all the details in it. See, what I did is I went and put it in where it said lot number, and then put in the lot number. And then it had some spaces, winning bid. And then I went and looked up the winning bid. So let's try that one. Okay, I'm probably going to need some room for this. Let's start here. Okay, so this began with equals, and then I had text. If I put text in a formula, has to be inside quotation marks. So lot, space, pound signs, colon maybe. Then I'll close that off. So now if I just hit enter, we just have that there, but I'm not. I want more. I want to actually say what the lot number is now. So I'm going to do an and sign. And let's bring in this 192 that's up here, but back out the 1. So now it's back to being the last lot. Okay, another and sign. And we were going to say what the winning bid was. So quotation mark, winning bid, colon, close that off. Oh, I could probably use a space right here though, right before winning bid. Otherwise it's going to jam together the lot number with the words winning bid. Okay, so there we have that. At the very end, I need another ampersand. Now I need to look up this winning bid. To do that, we're going to have to use a VLOOKUP at this lot number and bring it back. So let's see if we can pull this off. So I'm just going to type it out because I'm already in the middle of this complicated formula. There's no way I want to pull a wizard into this. So VLOOKUP, open quotation. What are we going to look up? Well, I'm going to look up the current lot minus 1. So now we're back to the last lot. Okay. Where am I going to look it up? Well, let's go to the sale table. And we're trying to get the bid. See, there's what we're trying to, we have the lot number there. So I'm just going to come across, highlight the entire table, and let's count it over before I go there. This is 1, 2, 3. So I'm going to use 3. Control Shift down. Okay. Comma. 3 to bring in the bid price, because there's the bidder, there's the info, the bid price, and there's who did it, but we're not talking about that at this point. We just want the money part. And then a comma. Oops. Back that up. Put that comma at the end. There it is. And false. This is not a range lookup. Whew, that was a lot. Let's see how it worked out. Enter. That's close. I think I'm going to stick a $sign in here. Because notice how it says winning bid, and I don't like this no spaces. I think I'll put spaces too. So I'll put a space here after those colons. Again, this is me. You don't have to do this. I'll put a space here after the winning bid colon, and I'm going to throw my $sign in there. Now let's hit enter. Lot number 191, winning bid 650. So I'll just merge that straight across. Home, merge and center. Oh, I like that. There. So I'm thinking right here then, we could use that description field that we built a while back that had the ear notch number and all the basic details about it. We could put that all right here. To do that though, I need to use a lookup again. So I'm thinking right about there. We'll just type it out once again. Equals VLOOKUP, open paren. What's the lookup value? Again, current lot minus 1. So we're back to that one again. Comma. What are we looking up? In this table, the sale table, we want all this across. And while I'm here, I'm just going to look. And what I'm going to grab is this. The second one. I'm going to go Control Shift down arrow. Comma. And I said it was 2 because see here, this is the lot number. And here is the details. And I thought it would be great. Let's bring that details in underneath. So a 2. Then a comma. Then false. Close off the parenthesis and enter. There. I'll merge that going across now. Perfect. So now we can start seeing this come together. The current lot block is 192. The last lot, 191. Winning bid was 650. It was a swine with ear notch 54-95. Gilt, sire from WD. Oh, must not have a sire listed now, so it's a blank there. Let's check that. Nope, didn't have one listed. None of them do. Oh, there's something wrong with that. Let's come back and address that real quick. That won't take long. So this was coming from the lots description. So let's go to lots description. We messed this one up a while back. Okay. Sire never got in there. And sire and sign again. There. Let's take a look at that. Lamb, sire, beam, from. It's there. It's a little tight. I'm not comfortable with the way this looks. We could try commas in there. Does that look better or worse? Oh, actually, that does look better. All right, let's add another comma then after the tag right here, I'm thinking. Again, this is just me. You don't need to do this. I get a little carried away with these things. Okay, there. So I'm going to go back to the dashboard. See, now it's too big. That's all right. We can wrap it, make it wider and all that stuff. It's there. Good. Well, we're getting close to the end. End's in sight. Only got a few more pieces here and then some tidy up and we're done. So here then I want to do the averages. We have the sale average, nothing fancy. It's just an average of all the values. But if I go through and put zeros in any of the lots at the end, that's going to mess up the average because then it's going to think those ones sold for nothing. And I don't want to count those as part of the average. If I want to count just those that are above 0, then I need to use like an average if. So let's try that. All right, so I'm thinking right about here. Let's just type this one. Equals average if, open paren. So first then is the range that we're trying to find things. Now, it's not the averaging range, it's just the range. So let's go to the sale. And we're going to go down this one here, the buyers. I'm going to look for a buyer that is not greater than 0. So that was the range. The criteria is next, so I do comma. Notice it switches over to criteria. What's the criteria? It is going to be inside of quotation marks, greater 0. Close the quotation. Okay, then another comma. And lastly, what is it we're trying to find the average of? So let's do this all the way down. And as I'm doing this, I'm thinking, you know what, I'm getting this mixed up. I'm thinking I should probably do the average here, excluding 0 if the price is 0. But we can fix that in a sec. Let's just get to the bottom here. Okay. There. Close the paren. So before I looked at buyer numbers, really, I'm thinking final bid. So let's do the same thing. I'm just going to copy this piece here and wipe this out. Now, if this is confusing you, just do it again. There. Now, there's another neat trick you can do, actually, which is you can actually grab these little boxes from the blue line after you've hit enter and move them around, and it'll change as well. But let's see what happened. I hit enter. There's my total. I'm going to toss that into a currency format. There. Now we have 3 additional formulas, but they're done twice. What we're going to do is we're going to do one set, copy it over, and just change the part where it says lamb to swine like we did earlier. So I have an average, I have a highest and a lowest. That's the average if S, max if S, and min if S. And this is going to be the if S one, just so I can copy it down. I know we could use one differently, but then they don't exist for all of them. So we'll just go through this way. So here we go. Now we don't want the total average. We're trying to find the average of lambs. But I'm thinking let's do that same trick. I didn't do it in my directions, but I like the idea again of excluding the ones that were at 0. That's up to you, because now I'm thinking about it. Well, what if I want to count those because we want to consider the scratches and add that in as part of it? Well, it's up to you. Let's just do one. So we'll go with equals average if S, open parenthesis. What is the range of the things we're trying to average? So again, I'm going to come to now I don't have swine stuff here. I mean, it's buried inside this formula, but it's not worth it. Let's go to the lots page for these, because here we have the species column as well as the winning bid and stuff we brought over. So on the lots page, we're looking for the average range. So that's going to be the winning bids, all of them. So highlight all those, okay, comma, the criteria range. Well, now we wanted it to be lamb, so let's come back up again and highlight the entire species, then a comma, and then inside the quotation marks, just type lamb. Now, we could call it done here, put a parenthesis on the end and be done with it. We also could go and say, let's look again and exclude those that are not above 0. In which case you would just put a comma, go through the winning bid range again, and then make your criteria greater than 0. But I'm not going to bother. Let's just close it up. Okay, there's that one. So, same range. I'm going to highlight just this range and save myself some work. Highest equals max if s, paste, enter. Lowest is going to be min, so equals minifs, control V for paste, paste, enter. I'm now going to highlight all three of those, copy it, control C, come over to swine, paste it, and change the word lamb to swine. Down. Lamb to swine. Lamb to swine. There. And let's just make this into some sort of currency format. Currency. I'll highlight these. Currency. Okay, it's coming together. Final touches, last things we need to do here. So, I'm thinking we can add a chart showing the winning bid prices, and let's just use a simple column chart. Then what we'll do is we'll move that and put it on the page there, and we're going to highlight all the winning bids. So let's do that. We don't really need the lot numbers. Now, the way I'm doing this, if you change the number of lot numbers, this chart may not work. You may have to go back and adjust it again, so just keep an eye on that. It's not like it's that much work to make the chart and move it over. So you could do it right before the auction if you had to. So let's go do that one. So here we are. Let's go to the sale page. And I'm going to highlight all the final bids. And then insert a column chart. Just a 2D column chart, nothing too fancy. Now I want to move this and put it on the other page. Now normally when I move charts, I click on them, and then I would use this move chart here and say to new sheet, or to put it as an object on the other sheet. And I could just say object on dashboard. The only downside of this is it's going to put it somewhere odd, and you may not find it right away. I'll just do it this way. You could cut and paste it, and that would work. Because now I'm here like, oh, where is it? Well, it's way down here at 150 something or other. There it is, because that's where it was on the other page. So I'm just going to cut it. Come up here, and I'd like it to go right there. Now, it's just to be a visual. It doesn't need to be something that people can get data out of besides seeing how it's going for trending. So let's just go through here and click on each element. Oop, not the box, the lines, and get rid of them. I don't want this axis. Look at that. That's looking better. Oops. Control Z. All right, so I'm just going to move this into place. Maybe make it shorter. There. So this is showing over the auction the various trends. You can see there's some big action that was happening here. You can tell where the sheep kicked in. All right. A little action in the beginning as if things got exciting. Things mellowed out a little bit. And what's left now is just testing and cosmetics. I would go through and look for things you might have missed. Then start doing some shading. Group some areas together, maybe put some borders and so forth. We have some different shading here going on. We want to get it down to a point where it actually looks nice, so when you print this sales receipt, it's something you wouldn't mind handing to a customer. That when this screen is here in front of 400 or 500 people talking about the current lot, you're not going to be embarrassed. People going, well, that looks hokey. So you want something nice there. And then here as well, this is showing our lot numbers and all this is the bid. Make sure this looks rather nice as well, because maybe the consignor page. Now, one of the things you might also consider is start setting the print areas. Now, remember how to set a print area? Let me just bounce over and show that real quick. So I haven't formatted, made this look nice yet, so really it's premature to do it. But let's say I'm done with it. This is as far as I'm going. Highlight what you want to print. Now, a little over, so make sure this chart fits later. Then, page layout, print area, set print area. So now I can see what's going to print. Nothing else outside is going to print. So I'm just going to move this in so it actually all fits inside. Now when this is formatted, I want to make sure it looks good, make things different font sizes and so on. Do some merging of cells to make them centered. Like maybe this whole area here could now be merged so this would fit better. You could make it wider with a word wrap on it, so maybe it goes onto a second line and then make it taller. like maybe like that, and then home. Let's merge it. I'm going to wrap it, merge and center. There. Other things might be taller. Maybe I should bring in the name of the auction here up on the top. That might be nice. Do an equals and have it come over to the sales receipt and pull out that info. That way, next time you go somewhere else, you just change that one place and it goes through everything and changes it. Okay, so that looks about right. Another thing you might consider then is also go through the other pages you'll be printing. You're going to be printing this consigners page out. And these are guys that are probably paying you, not the people at the auction. The auction are paying the consigners. So you want to make sure that looks nice and is good for them. So what you could do on that page is on the consignor invoice is let's turn this thing to landscape. Page layout, orientation, landscape. Now keep an eye out for this little dotted line. That's telling me where the edge of the page is. So I have extra space there I could use. So I increased it. Now the dotted line is right there. So that looks good. And it's sideways. Let's take a print preview and see what it looks like. File, print, there. And if I go down to the next page, there. Nice. The only thing I might add might be a footer. Remember how to add footers? The footer could probably just be the name of your business. So I'm going to come in here, and you can get to it through this little button here, or you can just click on most of these other ones and they'll go to the same area. You just have to click the tab for header footer. And you could pick one or make a custom footer, whatever the name of your auction company is. Actually, it was Modesto Junior College was the auction. Do your formatting, whatever you'd like to do. Hit OK. Hit OK. So now when we do a file print preview, there it is at the bottom, and so on. Cool. Now I also wanted to see that it printed on a page wide, so we saw that with the dotted lines. One thing you can also do sometimes though, and I'll show you where it works and where it doesn't, is you could just change this here, the width, to be the number of pages. So now I'm telling it make it 1 page wide. I'm leaving the height alone because I don't care how many pages long, but I only want 1 page wide. So now it'll scrunch it in. Where this becomes a problem, and it won't this time, is when there's a lot of info when you use this and it tries to jam tons of stuff onto a page and it just gets smaller and smaller and smaller until it's almost impossible, if not impossible, to read it. I've seen ones that I don't think ants could have read, where it just squished it all the way down to just little dots on the page. So keep that in mind that if you have tons of stuff, it's going to try to cram it all in there. So we highlighted just what we want and then turn that to 1 page. Perfect. So wrapping this up then, go through, do your formatting. If it's money, put it into the same money format you've been using. If you use 2 decimals in places, make sure it's 2 decimals throughout. However you want, but go through and make sure it looks nice. Now, however it looks is really up to you. What I'm really looking for and find important is that it works. Make sure that it works. Go through and check these 3 things because this is what I'm going to be looking for. Can you change the buyer number on the sale receipt and all the right data shows? Next, can you delete the last few bids and bidders from the sales sheet and the dashboard changes? Remember that top current and the last one and all those? So that would all have to be able to change. Can you then print that consigners list to show their lots and final prices? Because you're going to have to take your cash box out and pay those guys. So you want to be able to pull that off. Now, if all those works and you gave it a professional appearance, save this thing and submit it. You're done. That's the end of this project. Otherwise, take some time, go through it until you're happy with it, and submit it. Hope you found this fun and interesting and a nice way to go back over all the things we've learned so far to get ready for our section midterm.